Hello lovely people, I'm Debs. Welcome back to my channel, Raina Reads Stuff. I am in the book shack and it's Sunday, so I'm going to do my weekly reading wrap up. It's going to be very quick because I haven't read much because I've been away for the last few days. Boxing Day in my family was cancelled this year when the hosts, my eldest daughter Kerry and her partner John, went down with flu. So we rescheduled and we had Boxing Day yesterday and it was lovely. And the reason this is relevant is because my husband and I went down and stayed with my mum and saw my mum and my brothers. And of course, while I was there, I raided my father's bookshelves again. So part 2 of the Confessions of an Unashamed Book Thief will be coming up very soon. There's some good ones. So what have I read this week? Oh no, first of all, can I thank everybody for leaving questions last week for my Q&A? I'm going to put that together and that will be going out on Wednesday this week. There's some really good questions. It'll be really fun to answer them all. So I'm looking forward to that. And also this week, I shall be on Greg at Another Bibliophile Reads and Alan at Big Hard Books and Classics. They do a live show every Monday. I shall be on it on Monday. Well, for many people it will be Monday. For me, it'll be actually Tuesday because I've agreed to do it at 1 o'clock in the morning. And that's not them being mean. They did ask me if I'd like to change the time and I said, no, that's fine. So at 1 o'clock on Tuesday morning, I shall be sitting in the book shack talking to them. And that will be fun too. So to the reading for this week. Like I say, I haven't finished an awful lot. So first up, for the Around the Globe, Reading the Globe book event that's being organised by Katja at Page Turners with Katja and Roz at Scallydandrian about the books. I finished this. Clean. It's by Alia, Trabucco, Zeran. I thought it was brilliant. She's an author from Chile and the first Chilean author I have read. This was such a claustrophobic read. It was full of atmosphere. There were questions unanswered as well. Our heroine is a maid. She works for a couple in a large house in Santiago and they have one child. She works for them for several years. And at the beginning of the book, you know that the child has died, but you're not sure how or why, or whether it was natural or murder. And this is a long monologue about our heroine's life with the family and how they treated her and her relationship with them and other people that she met. Also her relationship with her mother. And I'm not sure, having read it, whether she was speaking to herself, whether she was in a police interview room, or whether she was in some sort of psychiatric assessment unit. But she's talking to someone else that doesn't respond. I really enjoyed the tense atmosphere of this book, and I also thought that some of the questions she raised in it were really interesting. It was set against the backdrop of riots in Santiago and changes in Chile, and it was gripping. It really was. I almost struggled to spread it out over the time period that I did. I wanted to read it all in one go, but then thought I'd be sitting on my hands trying not to add things to group chats when people hadn't finished it. But anyway, it was really good. I'm very much looking forward to all the other books, the monthly reads for this read along. Secondly, Endless Drama, which is a year-long read that's been organised by Angelia at Read and Reread. We read Pygmalion. I've read some George Bernard Shaw before, but I'd never read Pygmalion. And again, thoroughly enjoyed this. I've seen the film My Fair Lady. I did, for the first half of the play, have Rex Harrison's voice in my head whenever Henry Higgins was talking. But George Bernard Shaw was very much a feminist. And this is about, well, you probably know, how Henry Higgins, who is a master of accents and speech patterns, finds a flower girl in the street and decides, he makes a bet with his friend that in 6 months' time he can pass her off as a duchess. What he doesn't think about is what's going to happen to her after that. And he treats her as a scientific experiment. And she ends up doing lots of things for him as well. Like, she becomes his secretary almost. She's the person who knows what his appointments are, knows where his slippers are and things like that. But he has no concept of her as a human being. And the only people who do have a concept of her as a human being is his housekeeper and his mother. And George Bernard Shaw wrote this. It was quite odd, actually. There were a number of acts to the play, but then afterwards there was quite a long what happened next section that was written in prose. And I did wonder how that would have been translated to the stage. And apparently it wasn't translated to the stage. It was there to prevent anyone staging the play in future to suggest any sort of hint of romance between Henry Higgins and Eliza Doolittle. It's a quick read. It's a fun play. I like the characters. I like the way that George Bernard Shaw, even in that time, was arguing against the status quo at the time. The characters, the women characters in this play, are all very strong female characters, and that's lovely. I'm looking forward to the next one up. The Endless Drama features 2 plays a month, and next up we're reading Are You Are, and that should be fun as well. I also, this week, did a buddy read with Gavin at Genre Books, and we read this, Where Angels Fear to Tread by EM Forster. I really enjoyed this book. although I have to say the characters are hideous. There isn't a properly decent person among them. This is about a young widow called Lilia, who she has a small child. The family she married into really don't think very much of her. There's her mother-in-law, her sister-in-law, and her brother-in-law. It's suggested that because she's an embarrassment in society, she is packed off to Italy with a young woman from the village who's going to chaperone her. And she's packed off to Italy for a tour. The child stays at home. The family in England receive a message from her saying that she's planning to marry. And she's planning to marry a young, much younger than her, Italian guy, who is the son of a dentist. The English family are appalled. That's just, not what's done. Son is dispatched to try and dissuade her from marrying said Italian, and he gets to the village to find that she's already married him. But then she gets pregnant and she dies in childbirth. So the son is dispatched again to grab the grandchild, because proper English family don't want him being brought up by an Italian son of a dentist who doesn't really appear to work. The sister-in-law, Harriet, is particularly hideous. The Italian husband, he's pretty hideous too. The mother-in-law is an absolute harridan. And the only person really who has any saving grace is the brother-in-law, Philip. And he does at least try and act decently, even though he's dispatched to Italy several times to do his mother's bidding. This is a very quick read as well. It barely scrapes 200 pages. Yeah, 208 pages this edition. It's not one of EM Forster's most popular books, but I did enjoy it very much. I bought Morris probably in the summer. I think it might have been my last book haul before the Read What You Own challenge started. And that book wasn't published. Forster wrote it, but didn't want it published until after he died. And it deals with a gay relationship. So I'm looking forward to reading that. And we may even, Gavin and I, read some more EM Forster sometime soon. Other than that, the only other thing I have read, says she, trying to find the books. Greg, at Another Bibliophile Read, has been reading a lot of, where is it? Let me find it. He's been reading a lot of Jorge Luis Borges short stories. So I thought I would see what I could find. And in an ebook I had called The World's Best Short Stories, there was The Immortal. And this is an historical short story, and it is about a guy who is searching for an immortal city, a city by a river where people are immortal because they drink from the Immortal River, and he hears about it from a guy who's also looking for this city and is dying. He dies before he reaches the city, but our protagonist goes off on this search, and it's all about the city. It's about the people he finds living near the city, even though the city is confusing and deserted. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the writing style. I really enjoyed his descriptions as well. But I certainly be reading more. Unfortunately, there aren't any more in this book that I read, which is this one. But there are some authors here that I've never heard of. Horatio Quiroga, Julio Cortázar. Not heard of them. But then also in this book we have some James Joyce, Franz Kafka, Edgar Allan Poe, Oscar Wilde, Ray Bradbury, Charles Bukowski, H.P. Lovecraft, Guy de Maupassant, Arthur C. Clarke, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and Jack London. I think I've got 2 editions of these, and I think the other edition includes completely different authors. So that is my Sunday weekly wrap-up. Because of my trip down to the south of England to see my family for a few days, I don't read when I'm down there. I'm too excited to see my family. I spent a lot of time playing with my grandson and played stupid games with my daughters in the evening and their partners. And it's a 3-hour drive there and a 3-hour drive back. So we lose quite a lot of the week. I lost quite a lot of the week. Normal service will be resumed next week. That puts me up to, on my Read What You Own challenge, bear with me. I've read 53 books of the 125 I want to read, so that leaves me 72 books to go. Now I have decided to include all book formats. I don't really mind when I finish this because I'm still not tempted to buy any more books. The only books I'm going to allow myself to buy are ones that I may need for future reading events, but from what I can see, I've got most of those sorted anyway. So yeah, I'm quite happy plodding along with it, really. This week I plan to do a tag video, at least one. I'm going to do my Q&A, like I say, on Wednesday. And I also think I will do part 2 of the Confessions of an Unashamed Book Thief. So that's it for me today. Thank you very much for popping by. I'm going to go and catch up on comments that I haven't replied to and videos from people I subscribe to, that I haven't seen yet. I hope you have a lovely rest of the weekend, and hopefully I shall see you again soon. Thank you very much for popping by. Bye for now.